As you pick up the ring, you feel a cold, dark pain shoot up your arm. Your mind itches. You don't hear, but feel a whisper in your ear. It tells you to slip the ring onto your finger.
That's plenty. Look at that wand. It hums with inner source.
This jar glitters and glows. From within, you think you can make out the distant sound of laughter. With a jerk, your mind is pulled to a scene in a tavern. You see a dwarf in the center of the room, joking us all around roar with laughter. All bar the zombies, who are slavishly serving food and drink. The door opens, and a tall, beautiful woman stalks into the room. She's flanked by heavily armed guards. You can't make out her words, but see the fear in the dwarf's eyes. The dwarf mutters a word, and the undead lurch towards the intruder, but are cut down like wheat. The dwarf tries to run, pushing her friends into the woman's path, but is grabbed before she can escape. As she's dragged away to a tower, you hear her cursing Braccus Rex and his whore. Even when she's thrown inside and the door sealed, you can still hear her shouts. You pull your hand away from the jar, your head swimming. You can feel the dwarf's cold terror still twisting in your gut.
Good find.
You made it all this way.
He trembles and seems to shudder with a quiet sob.
I'm cursed, you know. Bloody Braccus bound me here to protect his vault. He has my soul in that jar just there, and I can't leave without it. As long as the jar stays unbroken, I can never truly die. I don't rightly know. This was the Source King's way. Befriend you, then destroy you. I was a fool to expect I'd be an exception. His favor was intoxicating. That's no excuse, but it is the reason. Really? You would?
He drops to his knees before you and grabs onto your feet with both hands, head hanging.
Thank you.
The jar before you may have looked opulent once, but no longer. Now it's covered in grime, its paint chipped away, and the soul jar rocks slightly, light flashing from underneath its lid. On its rim, you can just barely make out the name Gratiana. As soon as you touch the jar's cracked surface, you see a vision of splendor, silks, fine food, and decadent lechery. But underneath it all lies bone and blood. The vision shifts. You see burning villages, slaughtered women and children. You see her, purging wand in hand, standing amongst it all. She throws her head back and laughter echoes in your skull. A shadow falls across her, and you see a large, weeping face. She reaches out as if to comfort, but Braccus drags her back. You see her fall into the mire of the swamp, trapped. As you pull your hand away, you can feel a deep, longing sadness in your soul. Is it regret, or just sadness for a life that used to be?
Good find.
The jar on the plinth before you see the pictograms spin to life, and you're dragged into a dream. You see the lizards of the ancient empire turning their backs on you, casting you out into the wilderness. As you roam, the human apes turn away from you, all but one. One smiles, one opens his arms, one says he'll take you home. Braccus Rex. He promises power for a price. He picks off your golden scales, one by one, stripping you down to the bone. He promised you a crown, but all you got was shackles. You try to fight, try to reclaim what's yours, but a woman takes you by the hand and leads you to a tower. He promised he'd take me home, you cry. You are home, she smiles as she seals the door. This is where you belong. Your hand drops away from the soul jar, your skin prickling. In the back of your mind, you hear a small, scared voice whimper before you feel the source beating inside the jar, but you also feel the collar around your neck. As you reach out, the collar tightens and burns, while the source retreats deeper into the jar. The pictograms on the jar stand fixed.
Lucky find.
The soul jar stands on its plinth, glowing soft. You see, or rather, you feel a far-off land. Frozen breath hangs in the air, pine needles brush your cheeks, and in your arms you can feel a weight. A body, dead. But you have hope. Your vision swims. You're older, but perhaps not wiser. You march at the head of a shambling host, the enemies of Braccus Rex melting before you. The scene twists again. Now Braccus stands before you, a beautiful woman at his side. You lash out in treasonous rage, but cold arms bind you. You're sealed away in a tower. Your screams fill the darkness. You feel a jolt and open your eyes to see the soul jar before you, lying still in the vault.
Nice.
The necromancer's memories fade to black, but the feelings remain.
They may have been a necromancer, but they did not feel evil. Misguided, perhaps.
Anyone who marches at the head of an undead host deserves whatever punishment they get.
One must wonder how many more lives they took. How much misery the scum caused.
The deity's head and hands are missing, severed as if by a sword. You can't tell if this was meant to be symbolic somehow, or a mere act of vandalism.
I told you, lass. We'll be heading home in no time.
And? Have you found them? Did you bring the soul jars? They are relics of great power. Please, you must give them to me. If I can make an offering of them to Armadia, it could aid your cause.
She reaches greedily for the jar, tearing the cap off. You see a green glowing light emerge from the jar, enveloping Gratiana.
By Armadia, I feel wet. Oh, Goddess, I can feel your tears upon my face. I suppose you deserve to know. Before I knew Armadia's grace, I was a very different person. I was the concubine of Braccus Rex. But more than his lover, I was his partner. I discovered his power to feed on the source of others, and I allowed it to... No, I made it happen. You don't understand. No one understands. My heart held such fear, but with Braccus I was safe. He needed me, and I needed him. As his strength grew, so too did mine. There is nothing you cannot do when you sit on the lap of a powerful king. And I did it all. But power changes a man, as he changes his nation. Braccus grew paranoid, angry, murderous. I tried not to see it. I told myself it was fine, that the stronger he became, the stronger I was. What stupid lies. I gave him more and more, trying to win him back to me. I offered him the source of whole villages. He devoured them and demanded more. The lands outside were once green and beautiful, until I came, until I turned them over to him. Now all's poison, and the dead are restless. Armadia is merciful in her love. I found this shrine while hunting a band of wizards. I found the goddess weeping for her children, and I wept too.
She pauses for a moment. If she had eyes, you're sure she'd be wiping them.
Through Armadia, I saw my sins, and I could bear it no longer. I threw myself from the cliff at the entrance. I tried to rid the world of my evil. but Braccus would not allow it. He brought me back from the Hall of Echoes, locked my soul away, and demanded my obedience. Even in death, he commanded me. Only when 2 source hunters ended his curse was I free. Since then, I have returned here and spent centuries trying to heal the pain I've caused. And now...
She drops the now empty soul jar to the ground, smashing it to pieces with her foot.
You have my thanks, sister.
She starts to speak, but chokes back a sob instead.
Thank you. I can't... I've never known such kindness. Thank you for everything. May you walk forever in Armadia's grace.
It's good to see you. We were afraid.
It's peaceful
We were
here.
so afraid.
I'll not be sorry to see the back of these swamps.
Soon we'll be done here. Proud to have you at my side. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sweet mother, bringer of magic, hear my prayer.
Didn't lose your head. Well done, my lad.
Bless their allies with the courage to do what is right.